Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are stepping into something that is just staggering. We're talking about true cosmic scale here. We are diving deep into Volume 30 of the Da Ji Du Lun. For those who might not know, that's the treatise on the great perfection of wisdom, traditionally linked to the ancient philosopher Nagarjuna. Now, this isn't just some dry, dusty philosophical commentary. No way. This is a mind-bending roadmap that traces the entire cosmic journey of the Bodhisattva. We're going to decode this ascending path together, literally moving from the simplest human actions all the way up to the absolute manipulation of time, space, and ultimate reality. It's going to be a wild ride.
So here is our game plan for today. We'll kick things off with the true meaning of offerings. Move into the wisdom of fulfilling wishes. Establish the 6 paramitas. Look at planting endless good roots. And finally, we'll hit the inconceivable prajna. Like I said, we're starting right down here on Earth and ascending straight into infinite reality. Let's jump in.
All right, Section 1, the true meaning of offerings. We are starting our ascent at ground zero with a concept that seems super practical and everyday. Normally, when we think of offerings, we picture handing over flowers, incense, maybe some jewels to a Buddha. But right out of the gate, this text forces us to totally rethink the mechanics of that simple act.
Because think about it, and I love how Nagarjuna actually anticipates our skepticism here with this brilliant logical puzzle. If a Buddha is fully enlightened, totally complete, and completely beyond worldly desires, well, they obviously don't need your flowers, right? They don't need your incense. So is the whole ritual just pointless?
Well, the philosophy completely flips the script. The offering isn't for the Buddha at all. It's actually for the giver's own spiritual completeness. Nagarjuna gives us this amazing analogy. Imagine a farmer who stumbles upon the most perfectly fertile soil imaginable, but he realizes he doesn't have a single seed to plant. The frustration there would be crushing, right? Or imagine an ordinary person finally getting an audience with a great king, but showing up completely empty-handed. You'd feel a massive sense of lack and disrespect. We don't make offerings because the Buddha has a deficit. We do it because our own hearts physically need to express reverence, to actually cultivate virtue.
Now, what's truly fascinating is how the text splits these offerings into 2 totally different categories. First, you've got your material offerings, the physical stuff we just talked about. But then we get introduced to Dharma offerings. And this is a massive paradigm shift. A Dharma offering isn't something you buy at a store. It's something you do. We're talking about practicing deep moral precepts, hitting advanced states of meditation to wipe out suffering, or literally using spiritual power to pull beings out of hellish states. It totally redefines what it means to give a gift.
To really hammer this point home, there's this incredible ancient story about King Ashoka in a past life when he was just a little kid. He saw the Buddha and desperately wanted to make an offering, but he had absolutely nothing. So what did he do? He scooped up a handful of dirt and offered it with utter sincerity, pretending it was food. Because he was a kid playing, that dirt was what he valued most in the world at that moment. And because his intention was 100% pure, that single act planted the seed for him to eventually become a massive wheel-turning monarch. The takeaway? The merit of an offering comes entirely from your heart, not the market value of the item.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, the wisdom of fulfilling wishes. Now that we've prepped internally, it's time to step outward into the Bodhisattva's actual mission in the world.
Now, the text draws a very hard line here about what kinds of wishes actually get fulfilled. Bodhisattvas are not cosmic genies. They aren't going to grant illogical, unattainable wishes. If you're like a toddler trying to grab the reflection of the moon in a puddle, or someone trying to find the edge of infinite space, they aren't going to indulge that. But they absolutely will provide for attainable wishes. That means everything from highly practical stuff like a roof over your head and food to eat, all the way up to the ultimate attainable wish, which is nirvana.
But you've got to wonder, if the entire point of this massive, epic text is to guide people to nirvana, why is a bodhisattva spending their time conjuring up bowls of rice or winter coats? Why not just skip the small talk and go straight to the profound, reality-altering teachings?
Well, it's because the bodhisattva is a master strategist, operating on a very strict hierarchy. They know that a starving person literally cannot focus on meditating about the emptiness of reality. It's just not going to happen. So first they handle lower wishes, giving immediate present life joys like food to stop the acute physical suffering. Once someone is actually comfortable and receptive, then they pivot to middle wishes, teaching morality to ensure a better future life. And finally, with that rock-solid foundation in place, they deliver the upper wish, guiding them straight to nirvana. Those worldly goods, they're just stepping stones.
Which perfectly tees up Section 3, establishing the 6 paramitas. We're moving from basic wishes into the structured spiritual practice, the actual engine for true liberation.
But before a bodhisattva can teach these paramitas, they have to know exactly who their audience is. Buddhist cosmology sorts the infinite beings of the universe into these 6 destinies. You've got celestial devas, humans, fiercely competitive asuras or titans, and then beings trapped in lower states like hells, ghosts, or animals. The bodhisattva has to look at this massive, chaotic spectrum of existence and tailor their approach perfectly, using the 6 paramitas as the ultimate universal medicine for every single one of them.
And watch how these paramitas build on each other. This isn't just a random bulleted list. It's a super precise psychological ladder. You have to start with generosity, literally letting go of your attachments. Doing that naturally makes it easier to hold precepts, meaning ethical behavior. But when those ethics inevitably get tested by the world, you need patience. Maintaining that kind of deep patience requires incredible diligence. And only when you have that diligent, unbreakable foundation can your mind actually settle into profound meditation. Finally, from the total stillness of that meditation, true wisdom, or prajna, sparks into existence. You literally cannot skip a step.
I have to say, the analogies that Daji Delun uses here are just fantastic. It says that when malicious people hurl insults at you, it's like a filthy pig rubbing up against a solid mountain of gold. The pig's roughness doesn't hurt the gold at all. If anything, it just annoys the pig, but the friction actually polishes the mountain, making the bodhisattva's patience shine even brighter. And as for wisdom, it's described as the ultimate eye. Because honestly, even if you are incredibly generous and patient, without wisdom, you are entirely blind. You're just a cow being dragged around by a ring through its nose. Wisdom is what actively steers all those other virtues toward the finish line.
All right, with our virtues locked in, we hit Section 4, planting endless good roots. This is where we officially leave the earthly reality behind and enter the cosmic realm.
So, a huge question pops up here about the actual mechanics of spiritual karma. If you've been grinding away, building up all this incredible virtue through the paramitas, where exactly do you put it? Why is the Buddha universally considered the supreme field of merit to plant your spiritual seeds?
The text gives us what I think is just a brilliant definition. It asks us to look at the mind and virtues of a Buddha like the absolute perfect plot of agricultural land. We're talking about a spiritual soil that has been completely meticulously cleared of every single weed of defilement and toxic emotion. It is perfectly leveled out by pure ethics, and it's securely fenced in by infinite wisdom. If you plant a seed, like making an offering or dedicating a good deed, in a field that flawless, your merit is going to multiply infinitely. It literally will not exhaust itself until you achieve full enlightenment too.
Now, you might notice the text mentioning that advanced bodhisattvas actively desire the praise of the Buddhas. Wait, what? That sounds like a massive ego trip, right? Actually, scratch that. The philosophy corrects us real quick. At these higher cosmic levels, concepts like praise have zero to do with ordinary ego. A bodhisattva wants that praise purely as an objective diagnostic tool. It's definitive, undeniable proof that they have hit the stage of Avavartika, the irreversible path. It's basically a cosmic systems check to confirm their cultivation is bulletproof, not a pat on the back for their vanity.
And that brings us to the absolute summit of our explainer. Section 5. The inconceivable prajna, the ultimate reality.
Prajna literally breaks the rules of physics as we know them. See, you and I live in ordinary reality. We are completely constrained by the clock ticking, by miles and kilometers, by our own biology. But a bodhisattva operating with prajna, they enter a totally different state of existence. Because they truly perceive the underlying emptiness and interconnectedness of everything, they can manipulate time and space like it's clay. Through their meditation, they can literally compress millions of eons of time into a single ordinary day, or stretch a single afternoon out to last for millions of eons.
What emerges from this prajna reality are abilities that sound straight up supernatural, but in this framework, they're just the natural, expected physics of a totally unconstrained mind. A bodhisattva can emit one single thought and have it travel across infinite galaxies in a fraction of a heartbeat. They can make one sound, speak one single teaching, and through the sheer force of their focus, have that exact sound heard simultaneously by beings in infinite worlds. The scale of this is almost impossible to wrap your head around, but as we'll see, they absolutely need this power for their final mission. Because what is the point of all that power? Why do they need this infinite wisdom and these reality-bending abilities? The whole shebang comes down to one ultimate goal: to ensure that the lineage of Buddhas never ever breaks.
Without this inconceivable level of prajna, and without the nonstop work of these bodhisattvas, entire universes would just rot in dark, endless cycles of suffering. They'd be trapped in a prison with no doors. The bodhisattva uses literally every tool in their arsenal, whether it's accepting a handful of dirt from a kid or projecting their voice across a billion galaxies, just to bring permanent light to that darkness.
It is an absolutely breathtaking system, isn't it? Connecting the smallest, quietest human gesture directly to the grandest cosmic architecture imaginable. I want to leave you with a thought to chew on as you process all this today. Having mapped this entire path, from a simple, humble offering all the way up to wielding the infinite reality-bending power of prajna, what seed are you going to plant in your own field today? Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this explainer, and as always, keep learning.